Samsung's been stepping up their laptop game as of late, and they really wanted to make a splash with the Notebook 9 Pro. It has a stylus, it has a 15-inch display, and it has a dedicated GPU. Hey everyone, it's Andrew from AMDtech, and this is the review of the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro for 2017. The Notebook 9 Pro comes in at $1299. I'll put the link below for more information and where you can buy one. It comes in both a 15-inch and a 13-inch version. The 15-inch version has the Core i7-7500U CPU. It's got 16 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigs of SSD storage. Now the 15-inch version also has a dedicated AMD Radeon 540 GPU with 2 gigs of video memory. This is a yoga-style convertible device, meaning it has a 360-degree hinge, and it sports a 15-inch IPS touch display. It has a full HD resolution of 1920 by 1080. That comes out to 147 pixels per inch, and it means it has a 16:9 aspect ratio. Now colors are accurate, 106% sRGB, and it gets pretty bright at 334 nits. Now there is an outdoor mode that bumps up the brightness to 450 nits when you need it. There is no 4K option, but the 1080p Full HD display is very good in its own right. Colors are very vibrant and the blacks are very deep. This is a very good Full HD panel. As far as ports are concerned, here's what you get. On the right side of the device, you have your power button, your microSD card slot for storage expansion, and you get 2 USB Type-A ports. And they're both USB 3.0. On the left side of the device, you have your DC in. This is where you'll charge your device with the included power supply. You get an HDMI port. You get a USB Type-C. Unfortunately, it's not Thunderbolt 3, but you can use it also to charge the device. And you also get a 3.5mm headset jack. Now, as far as the keyboard is concerned, I was really impressed. Its island-style, chiclet-style keys are nicely spaced out and very comfortable to type on. It has 1.4mm of key travel, and it has 76 grams of actuation. That's the amount of force needed for a key press, and it was pretty good. And it has multi-stage backlighting, which I always like to see. I was equally impressed with the touchpad. It has a nice size to it, meaning it's very spacious, very responsive. 2-finger scrolling was a pleasure, and Windows 10 gestures worked as advertised. Really no complaints on the touchpad front. And perhaps the biggest star of the show is the fact that it includes the S Pen. Now the S Pen has 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity. It uses EMR technology, meaning there's no battery, and it stores in the device. Not something you see anymore nowadays. Now the S Pen included is on the small side, but I was able to use other EMR Wacom pens, such as my Cross Executive from years ago, and it worked pretty well. But serious artists might want to get this. It's the Staedtler Norris digital stylus made specifically for the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro, and it works really well. I don't have one on hand, but I will put the link below for more information where you can get one. Now the stylus that does come with is on the small side, as I said, but it does work well. With the 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity, it really is spot on. And it also has very good palm rejection. Using the S Pen with applications such as Photoshop worked really well. Write on the photos, manipulate the photos, do whatever I need to. The S Pen really came in very handy. And it supports Adobe's tilt function, and it worked really well. To me, the S Pen is what sets this 15-inch convertible apart from others. It really does make this a really excellent choice for those digital artists and note takers that are serious about their work. The Samsung Notebook 9 Pro sports 2 bottom-facing speakers. I'm not a big fan of bottom-facing speakers, and these are mediocre or average at best. Let's hear them in action. There's a 720p webcam on the front, and it is Windows Hello compatible. Setup was easy and worked pretty much every time I used it. Very good indeed to have Windows Hello on this device.
So this is the webcam on the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro. Now this is 1280 by 720, 30 frames per second. And one of the unique features of this camera app is the ability to do effects. Now you can do clean effect, which is what you see here, what they call lovely effect, beautiful effect. I don't know how beautiful that is, and custom. So you can pretty much do anything you want. Right now it's on basic, or you can do no effect. So this is basic, cleans that up a little bit. But then again, this is not the greatest camera I've ever seen, but it's certainly not the worst. So definitely something you can use for Skype, you can use for video conferencing when you need it in a pinch. Certainly can get the job done.
Because this is a yoga style convertible device, you can't open it with one finger. The hinge is not designed for that. But it does allow you to go into the different modes, such as the tent mode, which is great for recipes or putting it on a table and working in the kitchen. Of course, you can fold it flat to work with it with the S Pen. Works really well in that regard. And you could also put it into stand mode, or what I call media mode, great for consuming media such as Netflix, YouTube, movies, and the like. But this being a 15-inch device, I found it most comfortable to use it in laptop mode. At 3.79 pounds, this is one of the lighter 15-inch devices you'll find out there, and at 0.7 inches thick, it's also one of the thinnest. It runs Windows 10 Home, has 16 gigabytes of RAM. It also has 256 gigs of SSD storage, and it's made by Light-On, of which about 187 gigabytes are available to the user. And it did a 530.2 on the read and a 293.9 on the write of the Crystal Disk Mark speed test. You can swap out the SSD drive for a faster one. It's M2 SATA. Unfortunately, the RAM is soldered on, and that is not user upgradable. And also note that the Wi-Fi card is also soldered on. The good news is it's wireless AC, and it worked really well. Range was very good. Reception was excellent. And it also has Bluetooth 4.1, also worked really well with no interference and no flaws whatsoever. No trouble pairing, really good in that regard. It did an 8605 on the Geekbench for multi-core score. That's a pretty good score indeed. Its built-in graphics, the Intel HD 620 did 9683 on the OpenCL score of the Geekbench 4 test. AMD Radeon 540, 27189 on the same test. That's pretty good. AMD Radeon 540 definitely helps with Photoshop, video editing, and the like with more intensive processor tasks. And certainly that for gaming. Now this is not a gaming machine per se. You can play games such as League of Legends, which are mid to lower level graphics requirements, and it worked really well. If you want to go to AAA gaming, this is probably not the machine for you. There are better devices out there such as the Dell XPS 15, which has a better graphics card. Now, as far as battery life is concerned, here's how it did on the AMDtech endurance test with screen brightness at around 40%, doing YouTube, Netflix, some light gaming, some Photoshop, and some web browsing under the Edge browser. You're going to get around 7 hours. Now, it didn't do quite as well as the Dell XPS 15 2017, which got 8 hours and 23 minutes, and the category leader, which is the HP Spectre X360, the 15-inch version, got 8 hours and 36 minutes. It did 6 hours and 56 minutes to be exact, which is a little bit above the category average of 6 hours and 55 minutes. Now, as far as thermals and heat is concerned, it was relatively cool. After about 15 minutes of streaming an HD video on YouTube, it got around 78 degrees on the bottom of the device and around the keyboard area. Around the touchpad, it was around 76 degrees, which is very good because anything less than 95 degrees Fahrenheit is considered to be very comfortable. So, at the end of the day, can I recommend the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro? Is it worth your hard-earned money? And the answer is yes, it is, especially if you need the S Pen. To me, the best-in-class digital stylus solution out there. I really like it with its 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity. This really is a nice device. I like the fact that it has a very sharp Full HD display. Although there is no 4K option, it's still a very good sharp display in its own right. And I have no problems recommending this based on the display alone. It's really that good. And there is a lot of bloatware to something to keep in mind. Not a big fan of that. And average battery life really didn't blow me away. Neither did its audio. But overall, I have to say this really checks a lot of the boxes you'd want in a 15-inch convertible, especially with the stylus that it comes with, the S Pen. Really an excellent solution, making this a recommended device, making this worth your money. So what do you think about the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro? I think this is one of the best convertibles, especially 15-inch, that uses a digital stylus. I think the S Pen, with its 4,096 levels of pressure sensitivity, is the best in class. I like the fact that it doesn't have the battery, as I stated earlier. I like the fact you can store it in the device. Something that's an issue with some other devices as far as storing the pen. How do you take it with you on the go? Do you lose it? Storing it in the device makes it very convenient. Although it is a little bit small, you can use the Staedtler Norris digital stylus as we discussed earlier, or you can use other EMR Wacom pens as I demonstrated with my Cross Executive pen. But I'm curious to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. What do you think of its price tag at $12.99? I think it's actually a pretty good value, especially you're getting the Core i7-7500U CPU. You're getting the AMD Radeon, although it's not as good as, say, the NVIDIA 1050 that you see in the Dell XPS 15. And also, it's not a quad core. Just keep that in mind. This is a dual core device. The Dell XPS 15 is a quad core device, which makes a big difference in terms of performance, especially when it comes to graphics and all that other stuff that's processor intensive. But I still think it's a great value at $12.99. It's one of the lightest 15 inches around. It's also got a very good full HD display. Although it's not 4K display, it's still very good. Battery life is average at around 7 hours or so. Again, 15-inch devices, you're not going to get stellar battery life, as indicated by the 6-hour and 55-minute category average. This was just right around that, about 7 hours or so, depending on your usage. So keep that in mind. But again, I'm curious to know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section below. What do you think of the Samsung Notebook 9 Pro? It also comes in a 13-inch variant. The one I tested, obviously, is the 15-inch. I prefer the 15-inch. I like the extra boost you get from that AMD Radeon. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our website, AMDtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMD Tech. See ya.